Welcome to Holding On in the Dark. This is a webinar series that is done by Churches for Middle East Peace. This idea originated when we wanted to talk about a few cases that we don't have any answer to. One of them would be Al-Makhrour case. We've got other student detainees or young Palestinian detainees whose case has been ongoing for months and some for years. So we thought, what can we do to actually raise awareness about this and elevate our Middle Eastern partners? For some of you who don't know, Churches for Middle East Peace focuses on advocacy in the Middle East. They want to elevate our Middle Eastern partners and educate the people about what is happening in the Middle East with a particular focus on Palestine and Israel. Our speakers for today, whom I'm very excited to have, are Alice Kisiya and Reverend Richard Sewell. So for those of you who don't know, Alice is a 30-year-old Palestinian Christian journalist and a landowner at Al-Makhrour in the Bethlehem area. The Israeli settlers took over her family's land by force on the 31st of July of this year. Her family's land confiscation was backed up by the Israeli army and police using a military order closed zone to expel her and her family from her land. She has been actively standing up against this injustice, and she was arrested a couple of times. I'm sure you have seen her pictures in the news, and she's been advocating for her family's land for a while. And then our second speaker is Reverend Canon Richard Sewell, who is the Dean of St. George's College in Jerusalem. He is British and previously served as a priest in the Diocese of Southwark in the UK. His last post before moving to Jerusalem was as a team rector of Barnes Team Ministry, which comprises 3 churches in southwest London. Reverend Sewell was ordained priest on the Feast of St. Francis in 2003. He trained for ministry at SEITE, now St. Augustine's College, and he studied theology at the University of Birmingham for his BA. He did further studies for Masters in Biblical Studies, and prior to his ordination, he worked for the Anglican Ministry Mission Agency, USPG, as a mission educator with additional responsibilities, and that was in Pakistan and Bangladesh. He is currently in Jerusalem with me. And
well, that was a lot of information. You don't need to know all that.
Now,
actually, I didn't know, so it's good to know.
Yes. It's always helpful to know. I do want to first ask Reverend Sewell, who is familiar with Al-Makhrour case. Now, Alice is just one example of a family in Al-Makhrour who lost their home just in a minute, and until this day, they are doing everything in their powers to get that house back. But Reverend Sewell, if you could just give us a background about Al-Makhrour and why are these houses being taken by force? What do we know that is making this happen?
Well, as you said, Tamar, and people may well know that this is just one of many, many cases. The dispossessing of people's lands is something that is happening right across the West Bank and has been happening for years and years. It's a planned strategy, and most don't make as much news as Alice's family's case. And the reason for that is partly because Alice and her family are fantastic at organizing and have gathered a lot of people around with brilliant communication skills and brilliant communication organizing skills, but also because the Makhour Valley is a UNESCO heritage site. It is one of the few unspoilt areas in that wider area around Bethlehem. It's historically significant. That's partly why it's the UNESCO heritage site, because the methods of farming there that are still practiced really go right the way back to Roman times, and you can still see the terracing in a really pure form and the irrigation and those sorts of things. And also Alice's family's case has gained interest because they're a Christian family. And you'd like to think that any family, whatever their religion, would get the same international attention. But unfortunately, that is not the case. And when churches get organized, then things get taken notice of. And so we can take advantage of that. But we always, and Alice and her family, always say, we stand in solidarity with every other family that is in a similar position to us. But you have to fight these battles one by one. You can't just deal with all of them at the same time. So this case also is, as is so often the case, not just an isolated incident, it's part of a bigger strategy. And the overall strategy for Israel is to populate as much of the West Bank as fast as possible, but they're always conscious of international attention, and they try to make sure that they don't get unwanted attention. The war is a very useful cover for this, so they've been able to do lots and lots of things, because in normal times, more attention would come, but at the moment, a family being dispossessed of their house and of their belongings and of their heritage is of minor international news attention because of everything else that's going on. And the plan is, so Al-Makhrour Valley is just outside the greater Bethlehem governorate area. There are settlements a little bit nearby, spilling out from Jerusalem, but the others are a few miles away, and the bigger plan is for the settlement of Heletz, a few miles south, to be established and then to grow all the way up through several valleys, Batia Valley, which is another very significant heritage site, traditional Palestinian village, through up to the Makhrour Valley, right up to Beit Jala, which is a neighborhood just outside Bethlehem, but the greater Bethlehem area. So one family, one farm, in one huge valley, but that the plan is to spread and gradually to populate all of this area, to make it almost unbroken from Jerusalem right the way down to the huge settlement area of Gush Etzion, which has been there for a long time, but gradually spreading outwards, and attracting more and more settlers into this traditional Christian area. So it has huge implications for the Christian community in the area, and for the land and its beauty, and for the human rights and land rights of individual families like Alice's family.
And I feel like what's interesting.
I hope I did justice, Alice.
No, you did. And I feel like many don't know that Al-Makhrour is majority Christian population, and maybe part of it is why it is getting some attention now, and maybe part of it is Alice, like nobody can really tell. But I do want to ask, thank you so much, Reverend Sewell. Alice, what has been your experience like? Like, did you see it coming that all of a sudden these settlers would come in and settle in your house? And the fact that like you see them there and you're unable to do anything about it. And trust me, I know how hard you're working to do everything in your powers to change that. But how does it feel? And what are you currently doing to change that? I know I've been to one of the protests near Al-Makhrour and I saw you there. So it's like I can see you in action, like the things that you were doing. But if you can explain them, that would be amazing.
Thank you, first of all, for having me, and thank you, Father, for explaining everything. It's so painful to see that someone has just come and just demolished your house and then demolished your business, and then after they are kicking you out of your land that you've been there for many years. You have all your memories, you have all your heritage and all your you know connection to the land. The land is like a part of the family, and in the Arabic society, we call it as an honor, or like someone like a sister, because it's very precious that we defend our sister or our feminine you know. You hear me? Hello? Yeah, fine.
Yes.
So I think Tamara has the bad connection. So it's really important for us to defend this land, first of all, because it's our land and we've been there for many years. And second, because it's a very important area, and especially for Christians, because Christians has no longer places to go. Since the 48, they were immigrated or displaced since the 48, and we are a minority now in Bethlehem. And it's really to see this Christian lands are shrinking because of the settlers and their violence and their land grabs. So for me, I'm working on many legal things. It takes time, and because it's war and it's emergency now, it's really hard to do any step. We have to think not once, not twice, even 3-4 times more before taking any step, because we can see the government is really extremist, and we have to think on each step we are taking legally or even in field, because I don't want to put anyone in danger. We can see the violence around the West Bank and around the country. So for me, I don't think that I lost the land. Like maybe it's a sign from God that to push me work harder on just bring out the unfolding story about this, and to expose these settlers and the organizations behind these settlers, because these young settlers are not moving alone. They are moved by the JNF, the Jewish National Fund, and their private companies that they claim they are doing green projects, but to be like, it's obvious that they are not doing any projects. They are uprooting trees, and they are building settlements with the funds that they get. So it's really important to concentrate on this point, because for me and for my family, our only weapon is the media, and it's the social media and the advocacy and everything. And we have to focus on the JNF, because the minute that we can work to wake up people on what's the JNF and other organizations that are doing to Palestinian people, and they are stealing Palestinian lands, we can from here make a big difference. And of course, I'm working on legal stuff. So it takes time, maybe a bit, but I'm sure, I'm really sure that this land is related to many lands around the West Bank, and the way they are trying to steal it, and the way they stole lands before, it's the same way they are doing to many people. But not everyone is capable of defending, or even they have the power, or even because all what they do is strategies about making people tired and weak, and just it needs so much energy to defend or to even fight this struggle. So I believe I will get back soon to my land, and this land will be helpful to many other lands. This is what I believe.
And please know, Alice, that we are doing everything in our powers, and I think it's the least that
Thank you, Tamara.
and you're always kept in our thoughts. What is yours, and people can try to sabotage that, but we know what the truth is. And I do see you. Okay, actually, before I go ahead, I do want to say if any of the attendees have any questions, we have the Q&A tab. So if you want to put your questions there for both Reverend Sewell and Alice, that would be amazing, and then we can ask those questions. Alice, I have been seeing you really dedicating your life to this. Like, don't you just go like almost every day in front of that house and like you protest, right? Is it almost every day?
It's almost every day, but now because they have the military order, and after I was in jail, so I'm just taking everything, like I'm being careful with this, but I'm
Okay.
going there every day. I'm going, like, you know, with a car to see what's really happening, what they are doing. Now they put a small caravan there in the land, but it doesn't really matter. Even if they put whatever they want, I will kick them out. This is my goal, and I'm focusing on bringing more attention to that area, because this area had never had this much attention and this much care from people. Like,
Yeah.
it's really sad because it deserves a lot. It has springs, those springs also was cut off by the army and the civil administration when they built the tunnels. So they cut off the springs, the water springs, and they are killing the nature, and it doesn't deserve this.
How often do they just ruin the nature? Because when I was there for the protest, like honestly, that the saddest thing for me there, like yes, it didn't feel safe at all, and that's why I had to leave early. I was like, okay, they started to attack like the settlers, and it really didn't feel safe. And my mom didn't know I was there, so I was like, okay, I have to leave. But like I saw that they burnt the mountain, and then I was like looking in the distance after I left, like the whole mountain was on fire. And for those of you who
Yes.
don't know, Al-Makhrour is like one of the greenest areas, like yeah, in the whole Bethlehem governance. So like how often do they do that, and like what are other tactics that they do to just like get you angry and just like make you feel that it's not gonna change?
You know, for example, yesterday they had this Sukkot festival in Batir, so there were so many settlers there around the area, and these things making me, you know, upset that, for example, when I'm inviting our people, it really takes them so long to come, while their people are really supportive. And that's the problem, that I understand that it's really sensitive, but in my perspective, I am not doing anything that putting people in danger. We are just coming to the area. Let's make, for example, another activities, for example, picnic, walk, hike, anything that would bring more people to that area, because this is Palestinian lands, not for settlers, and people should know that today it's on my land, tomorrow it will be your lands. And they are acting like, for example, they are afraid, and I understand, but in any way people can help to invite more people to come to enjoy the nature, just proving our existence there. It's really important. It's really important. So for example, they put the gate, Star of David, and they broke our gate, and then they put their Star of David gate, and it's really upsetting me, because everything they are doing, they are using the religion, they are using the as if they the chosen one. So if you are the chosen one, just act like this, act like one. And but I know most of them are young settlers, and I don't have a problem with them, because I know they are not really, they don't know what they are doing. But the problem is with the big organizations that are behind them. So this is the idea.
Thank you, Alice. And Reverend Sewell, have you been there? I assume you have. Like, what was your experience like? And I know that there was, I don't know if you participated in the event, because Alice, you mentioned events at Al-Makhrour or people just being there. So I know a lot of religious leaders went there maybe a month ago. Did you participate, or what have you been recently doing?
I've been several times. I try and go whenever I can. My wife Julianne and I went to see Alice and her mother last Saturday. Just spent time catching up on the news, having a coffee, just to be together. And you know, it encourages me to be and see Alice, and we just want to keep the connection. I was there when there was the press day, and the various religious leaders came from different faiths. Muslim, an imam, several rabbis, and then Christian leaders of different denominations, and I was able to be there for that. And yeah, I mean, and actually, I know the valley very well because there's a beautiful restaurant there called Shams Al-Seal. It's one of our favorite places to go, and many times we've been, and we will often take family and friends there. Had my daughter's little birthday gathering there one year, a couple of years ago. So we know the valley. It's a part of us. You know, we talk about it all the time before. And then when I heard of Alice's family case right there in that valley, it was so shocking to know that the outrages are coming close and even into these very special areas. And it is, like you say, it's so sad and upsetting and anger-making to see this sort of activity going on in land. Whoever you are, whatever you are, you have to respect the land, because the land is God's first and ours to steward and tend it. And just, you know, spreading concrete over everything is an outrage against the land, as well as individual cases of dispossession and stealing. And I think people need to know that big organizations are behind this, and organizations with apparently good international reputation. So like the Jewish National Fund, this has been a really important Jewish fund, Israeli Jewish fund, for decades and decades, I think since 1948. And they've been able to cover up their work with supporting settlements and settlement building for a while. But finally, just a few weeks ago, the Canadian government have put a sanction on the Jewish National Fund. And this is really very serious for a prestigious Israeli Jewish organization to have a sanction against them. And Canada would not do that without very strong evidence, because they know they will get hammered for doing it. So this is helpful for us, trying to highlight the injustices, that this is not a few rogue individuals who are sort of bandits. These are reputable organizations that need to be exposed, and the Israeli government, who approves all of this, needs to be shown that it is known on the international scene. So these are ways in which we can campaign wherever you are around the world, in the UK, in America. The Jewish National Front has a very high profile, and they will not show their books, their accounts. They are despite various court cases against them, telling them to be transparent, they are refusing, and they just bring the lawyers in to slow the case down, slow everything down. But this is what is happening, and gradually the net is tightening around them, and there will be no hiding place eventually.
Thank you for sharing that. I think it's very important for people to know that, and not support organizations like these, because they are creating a big damage here. Yes, Alice.
Tamari, I wanted to add something for the Jewish National Fund. Now they are trying to, you know, get more funds, especially in the US. So I want to announce something about the next month, that on the 14th to 17th, they have conference in Dallas for the JNF. And you know, I created the interfaith community where we have many people, even father with us, many pastors, priests, imams, rabbis, and I'm gonna plan on a conference which is against the JNF on those days, and I will suggest that we will plant a tree for the nature and for save Al-Makhrour and for save Palestinian lands. And if you would like to join us on that day as well, where we will plant a tree for the reminder for the Jewish National Fund about them uprooting, but we, the people, will plant. So I will send you the invitation as well. And I wanted to say about this weekend on the 25, 26, we have an interfaith Shabbat, where our Jewish friends will come for solidarity in Al-Makhrour. They will have their Friday, Saturday, we will camp in Al-Makhrour, and then Saturday we will have the military order finished, so we will march to the land. So people, if they would like to join, they are more than welcome to come and support us.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And it's good to know that you are doing some activities, and it's good to see that some Jewish people are joining as well. Like, that makes it seem like, okay, we're here together for that change and for that peace and for people to get their justices. I do want to say that CMAP did also put out a statement on Al-Makhrour, and that was by the end of September, just to raise awareness. And that was right after Alice's detention. That was for the second time, I believe. That was when you and your mother got arrested. And I don't know how many times that happened, but what was your experience like? And just a reminder for people, if you want to put your questions in the tab below that. Oh, you are muted, Alice.
Wait. Yeah, so I was arrested 2 times. The second time they took me to jail for 1 night. It was for nothing. Actually, they had nothing to accuse me, just to, you know, this is one of their strategy to put more pressure on people to leave, to just forget about it. And you know, it's like a warning, you know. But thank God we are a really strong family, and we have really strong people around us supporting us. And I didn't really care, because I know I didn't do anything, and it passed really fast, though the night there was really the first time I was in jail in my life, so it was really bad. But I had like spiritual power that I know that I will go out, and I will keep fighting this fight. So I don't really care what they are doing, as long as I'm not doing anything really wrong. I'm defending my land, I'm defending my rights. So I'm not afraid of anything.
Yeah, I think that's in Palestinian genes, right?
Yeah.
And this is gonna be my last question, and this is for both of you. There are people here who are listening, and I think like they're listening from you, Alice, for the first time, and also like from you, Reverend Sewell, as someone who, you know, is familiar with this case. What do you think that the international community can do to help you? What would you ask them to do?
Alice, what you say?
Of course, to put more attention on this area, on this case, to put more attention on the organizations that are fighting and that are supporting the settlers, and support Christians, because Christians here in Bethlehem are really facing danger. It's not about, I'm sorry to say that Christians or Muslims, we are here living in general as humans. We are all neighbors and we love each other. But people around the world, they think that it's a Jewish Muslims conflict, which is not. It's not a religious conflict. Because once the settler said, when we finish taking this Al-Makhrour, we will come to Bethlehem and take it all, because you Christians, you don't have anything here and you don't belong here, and we will take everything as God promised. So this is really dangerous. We should maybe put more I don't know, put more pressure on the churches here to make more awareness for Christians, maybe not to immigrate. Like, for example, I know family, my friends, they immigrated, like two to four families. They just left a few days ago. They immigrated. It's really bad, and we are shrinking here. We are minorities, and we are even shrinking more and more and more, and this is not good. If Christians leave this country, this city, especially Bethlehem, we lost Christianity and forever.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying to people, that imagine the Holy Land with no living Christian community. Imagine the churches that are just museums and not got, you know, daily, weekly worship of the local people in. Imagine Bethlehem with no Christians and Jerusalem with no Christians. There has been unbroken Christian presence since the time of Christ himself. And this land has been through many, many, many tough times, and Christians have endured very many difficult things. And Christians have done, particularly foreign Christians, have done some terrible things in this land as well. But always there has been a way for Jews, Muslims, Christians to live alongside each other. But now that's changing, and there are plans afoot to certainly get rid of the Christians, because we are the most vulnerable. We are the ones that are easiest to get rid of in many ways. And people don't realize how serious it is. But, you know, despite the inclination to go, and the reality is that families are going, many, many Palestinian Christians are really determined, actually very stubborn in a good way, to say nothing will shift us, nothing will move us. This is our land. We are like olive trees, deep, deep roots in this land, and the land nurtures us, and we are here to care for the land. But it needs the global Christian community to stand with us. You know, now because of the war, it's much harder for Christians to be in physical, close solidarity with us, because people can't come in the way that they used to, don't want to come. Pilgrimages have stopped. The solidarity visits in many ways have stopped. Some few people still are very, very brave. We just had a solidarity visit from African-American leaders, including some Anglican leaders, but other denominations too. Just in this last week, they went to meet Alice. But it's an easy way for the Christian community to get isolated, because the war is cutting us off. So we need Christians, churches, national churches to pray for us publicly, to speak up for us publicly, not to be shy about it, not to be private about it, but to make sure that everybody knows the reality of what is happening, and that the Christian community is in danger of dying in the land. And not, you know, I don't want to exaggerate anything at all. This is what the community is saying, what the Christian leaders are saying, and ordinary Christian people are saying. It is the fear. We're barely 1% now. So we're very delicate.
It's even less.
Yeah.
It's 0.0 something. This is so dangerous. And I think also we can I think what's happening really now, people should be more, or to go back more to faith, to stick to God and to pray more. And even we can invite through the churches more people, more Christians around the world to come to Bethlehem to be here, because I think Bethlehem would never be like, for example, let's say it will never be in a war zone. That's what I believe, because they want it. They won't destroy it. But we need more Christians to be here in Bethlehem, to come to visit Al-Makhrour, maybe to organize some tours from now and then every week for Christians to come to see the one of the last Christian villages, which is Al-Makhrour, to organize maybe to Kremizan, to these UNESCO Christian heritage sites. And this way we can get more attention, more advocacy, more support from Christians. And we can also encourage other people around the world to come and visit Bethlehem, especially in this time.
Yeah, I know it has been very difficult to have people now. Even we are doing and Still We Rise, which is our women empowerment program, and like we've been having long debates. Should we keep going? Should we not? And we decided to still do it. This is the last question. The recording will be, I mean, it's in the chat here. The recording, I'm not sure when it will be available, but it will be sometime in the next week or two, so people can watch it. And yes, we will continue to highlight the ways where people can get involved. Usually we try to advocate for cases like Al-Makhrour on Capitol Hill. So like we go to the Senate and to the Congress and we tell them, hey, this is the case of Al-Makhrour, or other cases like Tent of Nations. And we need the US to stop funding all these arms that go into Israel and that allow the settlers, that allow the military to do what they're doing right now. I did want to thank you both, Alice and Reverend Sewell. I hope this was educational for our audience. It will be recorded and put on our website or YouTube. I do want to say that for those who might be interested in similar stories like Al-Makhrour, we have another case of Layan Nasser, who Reverend Sewell actually knows very well. So we will be highlighting her case through her mother, Lulu, and that will be next Monday. And then we have other mini webinar series for the next couple of weeks. Again, thank you so much. And
Thank you, Tamara.
we'll keep praying for Al-Makhrour and for you, Alice, and we will keep doing everything we can to hopefully stop what is happening.
Thank you, Habibti. Thank you, Father. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Alice. Lovely to see you. Thank you, Tamara. Good to be with everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.